Yeah, training's been going great. Again, opportunity to just kind of get back together, analyze from last week, look at a few things that we can improve, and then how we can also apply some things that Orlando's going to challenge us with. Getting keeping the group together, going on the road. We know it's a challenge in the MLS, but it's a challenge that we're looking to embrace, as we know it's sort of our path to achieving the goal of making the playoffs. It's no. Oscar's a great coach at Orlando. And his team is going to be organized. His team's going to be prepared. I spoke to the team today, and I said the result that they had on the weekend versus Kansas City is a complete outlier of the form that they've been in. So we're expecting a team that's going to be hungry, together, ready to compete on their home field. We need to be prepared to match the intensity from the start.
Great, thank you. We'll start with Jacob.
Yeah. BJ, you have a two-week break immediately after this, and that means you'll have played about 2 games in about 5 weeks by the time you go play Atlanta. I guess, is there a point where that becomes a hindrance to have so much time off, or is it still a benefit most of you as you're still a new coach with new systems you're trying to put in place?
We look at it right now as every day that we get together is an opportunity for us to improve on what we want to do, improve on how we prepare, improve our processes inside here, is even working together. So I think for us, it's just we look at all of these situations as opportunities to continue to get better and move the group forward.
But
yeah, Vijay, just kind of looking at Orlando, obviously, you talked about Oscar Pareja, but they have kind of a lot of players who can kind of pop in a bunch of different roles in their attack. They have 3 guys who can start up front kind of at any point. How do you kind of balance what you expect them to do just kind of from a philosophical standpoint, while also kind of knowing that there's some things that can change from a personnel standpoint? How do you plan for that?
Yeah, I think for us, it's just about being really clear on what we want to do. They are a team that has tremendous individual talent. They have attacking, I would say really good attacking talent that moves all over the field, and their shapes are adaptable. So I think for us, it's just about being very clear on the structure that we want to have, not getting caught into who's playing where, but just about the spaces that we think are important to defend. And we want to do it as a collective unit. And that's what we're all about, is doing it collectively. And so we know the types of challenges that a really good attacking team like they're going to present. But for us, it's staying true to sort of our structure and our principles, and not getting caught into sort of all the interchangeability that they present on us.
Yeah, and then kind of just MLS as a whole feels like maybe one of the hardest leagues to play on the road. I know you've talked about kind of what you want to do from an approach perspective. Does that change at all when you go on the road? And if so, how do you balance still wanting to be proactive and create chances and all of that, while also kind of just realizing the realities of just difficulties playing away from home?
Yeah, it statistically tells you across the world that it's hard to win games in this league in general, and it's even more difficult to win games on the road. And so for us, it's about being pragmatic in our approach, not changing who we are, not changing our identity, but at the same time understanding that we need to find the moments and the opportunities to exploit the opponent and what they give us, and take advantage of those moments. Sometimes the moments on the road are a little bit less, but they still are there. There's still opportunities to win games, and we just have to recognize them and seize them is the best way that we talk about it, but not changing away from who we are philosophically and from an identity.
PJ, looking back at the game against Austin, you were setting up the team on a 3 at the front, 3 in the middle, 4 back, whenever you had no ball. It looked like that way. And then, the first part of the question is this part of your culture? Is that what we're going to see, or it would change depending on the rival and where you play? And the second part is, with that formation, really, the fact of the first goal, the way it happened, I was thinking, was it a problem with the approach of that particular play, or is it an issue with the system whenever the team is still not used to play in games?
Yeah, so I'll take the first part. I don't think we don't look at our identity in based of a system based. We do it in a principle based. So I think that gives us the flexibility that if we need to be adaptable in different sort of shapes, we can do that and we can present it because our principles of the way we want to play and the way our players see the game remain very, very similar. So our identity wants to remain the same, even if the players get put into different sort of positions. And I think that can adapt throughout a game, and it can adapt as an opponent adjusts. So I think in the Austin match, you saw a team that was adjusting between building in 4, building in 3, dropping Pareja down between the center backs. So as they continue to adjust, we have to continue to adjust in our starting positions, but not necessarily our principles. That always remains constant. The first goal that you bring up, for us is, we talked about it as a team after we analyzed it. It's a little bit of, I would say twofold, right? We're able to find Shaq into a really good attacking position, and he's able to create a penalty box entry, and the goalkeeper saves the ball. So now that moment we've changed from a finishing attacks phase into basically like there's a moment of transition to get our shape, and then we have to change into more of our mid block. And so it's about that recognition and now understanding that if players find themselves in a position that might not be theirs, they have to assume that role. And so, we talked about being quicker to recover as a team, knowing that we want to still have our back line intact. So maybe somebody else has to fill that position until Shaq has the opportunity to recover. And then also just the feeling of the group is now the goalkeeper has the ball. He runs up to the top of the box. And for us, is that a time to engage, or is it a time to just slowly, recover and retreat because we had just gone on a fast attack? So it's part of that team gelling. But at the same time, just kind of, again, these moments. But I mean, again, it comes off of a promising attack that I think we just have to be a little bit quicker in the way that we transition our minds from the different phases that we're in.
We'll go to Valera on the Zoom.
Hey, BJ, obviously the weekend there was the situation in the first half. I'm just curious, this week, has that come up in your team meetings, and how have you and the guys handled that?
I mean, in the sense as it come up in the team meetings, yeah, we have, we talk about being able to be a team that responds to different challenges that are thrown at us throughout the match. And, so in that first 30 minutes, we had a few different challenges. And so it's learning about how we can stay together, stay true to our identity and our anchors that drive our behaviors, and being a team that gets really good at responding to some things that maybe aren't always in your control. And so we definitely talk about that because those are moments in game that are great learning lessons for all of us, in the sense that whether it can be referee bad calls, or it can be missed penalties, or other incidents that occur, we have to be able to quickly respond, quickly adjust, and continue to remain true to ourselves. So yeah, of course that was a great learning opportunity for all of us. So we want to address it, talk about it, and at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to get better from it.
Go ahead, Valera, if you have another.
Yeah, and I'm just curious. I'm looking at the table in the Eastern Conference. I mean, it's especially where you guys are. It's just kind of all over the place with a point or two separating those spots. I'm just curious how much of that is going into your thinking, and how much of that is something you and the players are looking at when it comes to that, because it's really anything can change within a game or two.
Yeah, I mean, we're clear with our short-term objectives here is to make the playoffs. So we certainly know where we are in the table. We know how many points separate us from 9th place and 8th place. We know the opponent's schedule's upcoming. We know our schedule's upcoming, and everything, all of that is context on how we want to approach each and every match, because that's ultimately the stepping stones. We have 8 more stepping stones here to get us to our short-term objective that we started here as we resumed MLS play. So we are all very aware, very focused, and working every day to achieve that goal.